Welcome to episode 64 of Ring Talk. Myself, Martin Theobald, and with me, head of Goodwin Boxing, Steve Goodwin.
How you doing, Martin, after watching your crappy football team at the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, equally matched by Arsenal's piss poor attempts at European glory.
The only thing was, we know we're shit.
Yeah,
and you gave these delusions of grandeur at Tottenham. I mean, you don't win anything, and you're flattered to deceive, and yeah. So,
I mean, it's a big pot and kettle scenario. I don't think either of us are in a boat that can boast victory right now.
That's fair.
Yeah, a long, tiring trip to and from Madrid over the weekend, and to watch that. So
football does they give you great moments, football, doesn't it? But then there's times when it's the worst thing in the world.
It does. As a Spurs fan, I wouldn't have swapped nearly dying in our group after 3 games. Nearly going out to Man City were it not for VAR in the last minute. Yeah. If it weren't for Lucas Moura over in Amsterdam in the second half, kind of resuscitating our hopes. Yeah. All those things, and we lose a final like that, that's a killer.
Yeah.
But all those moments were brilliant in the league.
Yeah, so you enjoyed it on the way through, didn't you?
Yeah, and then a great time out with my family, wife and brothers-in-law out in Madrid. So yeah, it's... but yeah, don't have to tie you out on a long journey. Anyway, more important matters. Boxing.
Or sponsors.
Oh, sponsors and subscribe.
Oh yeah, now we're up to about 860 now. We need 140 more subscribers to actually generate this cash to start coming. It's not fortunes of cash, but it then means that the newer videos we put on and the more content we put on, the more money we generate. And it would therefore, once we get to 1,000, we'll get more content up, different content, and loads of different stuff for you, but until we can get it monetary driven,
there's no point. Or not no point, but yeah, there's less point.
There's less point. So we really want, so please subscribe, get your friends to subscribe, your family to subscribe.
Even if they never watch us.
Doesn't matter. Just get it to 1,000 so you know then the boxers will benefit.
Cool. Right, sponsors, talking about boxers benefiting. I've had 2 people message me this week with their sponsor details. We'll start off with Xavier Miller, running IQ Boxing down at Needston.
One of the best up and coming trainers in the country by a mile. He's one of the top ones. He was great man, great gym, top person to deal with.
He reads a fight and reads his fighters particularly well. Like the conversations I've had with him, before his fighters fight, or even when his fighters aren't fighting, he's just at your call, and you have those conversations where something clicks about the way that he talks about how he's adjusted styles, or fundamental changes like he made to K Prosper a while back when he came out southpaw for a fight. All these little things, and some of the bigger things.
Got highest respect for him and his other trainers in his gym. Great gym.
So down at his gym, he'd asked to give a mention to Tiger Bay Shisha Lounge.
Who are sponsoring Yusuf Kamari.
Are they?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And good people, really get behind the boxers. Tiger Bay, they've got a lounge down there in North London, and it's well worth going to see. They're good guys, and they really are supporting the boxers.
You ever done shisha?
No,
I've not actually. But if you do, go to Tiger Bay.
Tiger Bay. It's great. It's a great bar. Everybody tells me they've been there, so it's a really good place.
You've been to Turkey loads as well. They love it over there.
Yeah, I don't. I avoid all that stuff.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. And Ealing Boards and Timber. So sorry, Tiger Bay is at Tiger Bay Shisha Lounge on social media. Ealing Boards and Timber at Ealing Boards and spell A-N-D, not the thing that looks like an 8. I can't remember the name of. I've got an English degree, so that's terrible. At Ealing Boards and Timber on social media.
Oh, great! Good. Listen, these people are supporting boxing, so support them.
So look, if you're around the Ealing Way and you need wood, timber, boards, whatever it is, get in contact with them, because those people are supporting boxers, and it's a great reason. Like I'm sure they do a quality service. Xavier wouldn't kind of associate himself to crap.
100%.
So yeah, there you go. That's the ones for Xavier. Neil Parry fighting this weekend.
We'll talk about Neil later.
Yeah, he sent me over his. He wanted to mention Paul Lawrence from Lawson Environmental Services, who've supported him from the day he turned pro, and George Lawrence from George Lawrence Designs for everything they do for him. So Lawson Environmental Services. I've got to confess, I don't know an awful lot about them, but if you have any need for environmental services in your workplace, just look them up, whoever they are. Just look them up.
And the design, everybody needs design, right? So if you need design work, go and speak to George Lawrence.
Yep.
Because he's supporting a boxer. So if we need design work, let's go to the people that are supporting the sport we love.
Absolutely. So there we go. That's. I just want to quickly reiterate Neil's ones. George Lawrence Designs. So go and find them. If you ever need any design work doing, get in contact. Give these people that are supporting boxers the help that they also deserve.
Exactly.
Right. There we go. That's the sponsors. That's the subscription out of the way. We're going to talking boxing.
Okay.
You got a show this weekend.
We have.
Your call.
Olivia's promoting it. Yeah, down at Your Call.
What time are the doors? Start off with that. The important things.
Doors are 4:30. First bout 5 o'clock.
I just caught like a little bit of my shorts. That was like Mr. Miyagi shit. That. Anyway, sorry. Tattered old shorts. Sorry. Doors.
Doors 4:30. First bout 5 o'clock.
Cool. Okay, and people can get tickets still from boxers. They can get them from iBoxing tickets.
It's not sold out.
It's not iBoxing tickets.
Yeah,
it's my fight tickets.
It's
Sorry,
not.
Kev.
This isn't sold out. It's not one of the sold out shows. We had a lot of fights come off it, off the show. So it's not. We do have shows, that sell out. This one has not sold out.
Which is a shame. Like, there's some decent talent that we're about to come on to, but the top of the bill fight alone.
Yeah.
Is get there for that.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I won't say. A lot of people say we've sold. You get these.
Get the last two tickets.
You get these things where you watch live TV and they go, "This is a sold out venue," and people are saying, "It's only a third full." It's just. It's not. It's much more than a third. It's more than half full. We're about. It's better than that, but it's not totally round out. So
yeah.
There are tickets available if you want to come on the door. Buy from the boxers. Buy from My Fight Tickets. However you want to do it. There are tickets available, both ringside and normal standard tickets.
Cool. All right, so doors at 4, first fight at 5.
4:30.
4:30. Get there really early though. Get there at 4.
Get there at 4.
Stand outside and wait. It's a historic building. Take selfies. Right, so we'll get on with the action then. Headline fight that I just mentioned.
Brad Paul's Darren Codona. This is where Brad goes to make history. Be the first Cornishman in 100 years to win a title. I want to say, Brad. I have a thing about loyalty, you know that in my life. Brad's been very loyal. He had a 3-year contract. He renewed his contract with us. He pledged his future to us, and we're going to basically, which we do. We'll give everything we can. Once the boxer renews the contract with us, it's even although we do everything for everybody anyway, it's even more of a thank you to that person because they've shown loyalty to go again for another 3 years.
Yeah.
And for Brad, I want to take him to the highest possible point, and I think he's talented enough to do it. And this is the first step of his real journey. And we've had all the build up, we've had the thing, and now he goes to deliver, and he could become the third stablemate to win a meaningful fight. Sean Robinson won the Southern Area, Linus won the final eliminator for the English title, Brad now goes for the Southern Area, and it would mean Terry Stewart's 3 championship level fighters have all competed and won in championship contests.
That he's brought through from scratch, all from scratch, but from amateur.
All from the bare minimum. Terry Stewart is a top trainer, and this could be the third one, and it'll be full credit to Terry and the team. They're a great bunch of lads. And let's hope for even more success from the stable.
Makes me laugh, Terry. He's so old school. He's like, he doesn't give a shit about anything.
But you know something else though? He doesn't give us any grief, no hassle. It'll be like, we'll give him an opponent. What do you think? Yeah, it was great. And we've had a look. If you're happy, we're happy. And he just trusts us to deliver the right job. But Brad, Linus, Sean, Paul Greenwich, what have they all got in common?
Undefeated.
Terry lets us do our job.
Yep. And they've all taken learning fights along the way. Paul not so much, but he's earlier in his career, his professional career than those guys. But they've taken learning fights along the way that have ultimately led to the opportunities to solidify that
slightly record. More harder than sometimes some people would do, but they're taking the right fights at the right time, and they're being asked questions and they're delivering the answers. But Terry's happy to do that, and he trusts our judgment, and we work together with him. He's a real pleasure to work alongside Terry, and because he knows his boxing, but he also trusts us.
And he trained me for a while, and he's an absolute taskmaster.
Yeah, and he gets them fit, doesn't he? Don't he get them fit? Oh.
Yeah, just a little.
Brad's on weight already.
Is he?
Yeah, he told me today. He said Bradley's flying and ready for what? He said he's like a machine. He said he's never seen him.
Yeah. So a big Southern area fight.
And don't discount Darren Codona, because he is a tough man.
Yep. He proved that against Linus. You know, he took some hard shots, and he was fighting back against Linus. It wasn't all one-way traffic by any means.
No.
Linus was a significant enough winner that it was, you know, by the end you knew what the outcome was going to be. If Brad goes tearing in, which Brad has a tendency to do when he knows someone's hurt, if Darren's got anything left in the tank, if it gets to that stage, then he's still a dangerous commodity.
Well, look, he had a fight with Tailing Jones, had life and death with him.
Yeah.
So, you know, that tells you he's at the Tailing Jones level. And Tailing Jones is considered to be quite capable, and he's a come-forward fighter as well. So, Brad's got... It's no walkover for Brad, and I think it'll be an exciting fight. For as long as it lasts, it may go the distance, it may go early, mid-rounds, but I think it's going to be an exciting fight while it lasts.
I know you won't make a prediction on it.
Well, I do. I'll predict Brad wins.
Okay, but no more specific.
No.
I think Brad will finish Darren earlier than Linus did, because I think he will want to. It's the bravado element.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that Darren isn't in this fight at all. There's no disrespect to Darren whatsoever, and he's got a very good chance in it. My prediction, though, is that Brad will look to go out and do a quicker job than what Linus did, just so he can take it back to that gym and.
Because they're great mates.
I know. So yeah, that's how I see it going.
I'm really looking forward to that fight. Looking forward to that fight.
Yeah. We'll move on then. Jake Ball is coming to York Hall to fight on one of your cards, so he's away from Matchroom for one night only. Yeah,
he's trained by Terry Stewart now. He's moved from Dominic Ingle back to Terry. So Terry wanted to get him on the same night as Brad, so we've just enabled him to have his comeback fight. I think my understanding is that Jake will have this fight and then go back on a Matchroom card. He didn't look himself. Not every fighter suits a change of trainer, and maybe that didn't work for him up there. But we'll see. We'll see how he gets on here, and then we'll see how he gets on it on the Matchroom card. But good to have Jake on. He's a nice man. His dad Joe's sorted everything out, and we're welcome to fight on Olivia's show on Saturday.
Yeah, and he's trained with Terry before, hasn't he? And then went up north, and now he's back alongside him. Adrian Redman.
Looking forward to seeing that, because Adrian has never been out of first or second gear because he just does enough. But now he's going to fight Harry Matthews, he's not the traditional journeyman, whereas Adrian has fought them. Harry will come and have a little go. So hopefully we'll see Adrian step up and go into third gear, fourth gear, and we'll be able to see what he's really like. He's a man with a lot of talent, but I think he's one of these fighters that will always do enough.
Yeah. So you want to see him pushed?
I want to see him pushed, yeah.
All right. Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes just fought for the Southern area, got beaten his last fight. He's changed trainer now, he's with Robert Lloyd Taylor.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's changed trainer. How often is it that boxers lose? They change trainers, right? Happens so often. But he's obviously, Robbie's a good ex-pro, so hopefully it works out for Jack. He's obviously wants to get back in the title mix, so we'll get this fight out of the way and we'll look at the various options. I know he wants to fight Craig Darbysh, who's English champion, but being in the real world, he didn't win the Southern area last time, so it's a big jump to go for an English title. It can sometimes happen, but I'm not sure the board would accommodate that.
I suppose where there's a limited talent pool down at those weight categories, the board probably, I'm not saying they will, but they're more likely to.
But then why wouldn't they give it to Ricky Little, who beat Jack Hughes? So yeah. So Jack will get his time. It might not be the next fight, but we'll build him back. Build him back.
All right. The Goodwin boxing debut of Muheeb Fazeldin. I think I've got all that right. We'll see.
Looking forward to that. He's
former Central Area champion. He's
fighting our weight above. He's fighting Jamie Quinn this time. Jamie is very tough, so he's not. To stop Jamie Quinn would be some hell of a statement. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm looking forward to seeing his skill set, what he looks like, and where we move on from here. But I think he's a good talent. And I think he's going to win plenty of titles, and we're just navigating through to that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing his first fight under our banner.
Do you expect to see him looking to put on a show as well?
Yes.
'Cause he's got that flashy skill set.
100%.
Okay.
100%. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Really looking forward to seeing him.
Yaser Al Ghena.
He's had problems with medical stuff that has now been resolved, and I actually really rate Yaser, and I think he could do well in the welterweight division. He's only 3-0. I'd imagine him at 7 and 8 being really ready for Southern Areas, because I think he's got a good amateur pedigree, great trainer in Xavier Miller. I think we'll see Yaser doing, so realistically in 12 months' time, I think he'll be ready for Southern Areas and then move on from there. But I've got a lot of time for him, and I think he's exceptionally skillful.
Okay. Ish O'Connor?
Ish O'Connor, I was really impressed with his debut.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. He's got Jordan Granham, so Jordan, as you know, can get the occasional win and draw. He's a lot better than his record suggests.
Jordan's so talented,
isn't he? He just does his stuff, doesn't he? And so you see flashes of brilliance from him, don't you, sometimes? But he's a perfect fight for somebody to box for. Ish will learn so much out of fighting Jordan, and he needs to be on his guard as well, because
when Jordan wants a win,
he can sometimes get them, can't he?
If he turns it on,
it's hard for the opponent. So, but Ish is talented, supremely talented, and you've got a good trainer in Jamie Monk, and I think they could go a long way in this sport. So hopefully they'll do the job with Jordan, and Ish can move on. I've got a lot of time for him. I think he could be very, very good.
All right, Denis Denikajev.
Now, he is somebody I think is under the radar, but he could be one of the best fighters we've had.
You marked him out before.
Yeah, I think he's exceptional, and we're putting him in with Ben Fields, who's just coming off beating a 9-0 kid in his last fight. Ben Fields is one of those who has had times when he's on the journeyman mode, but I've had a phone call from his manager, John Pegg, and he said, "Do you still really want this fight?" He said, "Ben's on a roll, and he really fancies this fight against your kid." And they want the fight. Denis wants the fight, and his trainer, Dave Sadler, is brilliant to deal with. And they want it. And Ben Fields is coming to win. He's beaten a 9-0 kid. He thinks he's going to be down to beat Denis. But, as I honestly say this, and I know Denis is only 4 fights, Denis is as good as I think he'll beat Ben.
Yeah.
And I think he's a really, really good talent. But I'm going to find out for sure Saturday if he's as good as I think he is.
All right. Brandon Ball returning from the first loss of his career.
Look, a one punch. We probably covered the Joshua thing later. I think when a fighter suffers a one punch flash, knockdown, knockout, whatever it may be, I don't think it matters at all.
Yeah.
It matters to his pride on the night. It was awful for him. He's come up in weight now because I think he felt weight drained where he was last time, and I think Brandon's got a lot of potential. But obviously he's got to put that to bed, what happened to him last time, and I'm hoping. I think he will. But we've got to build him slowly because he's had that reversal. We need to develop him nicely.
He's only a young lad as well.
Yeah, nice and slow. He should have won. Look, that shouldn't have happened to him last time. I'd be quite keen on him having a rematch with that lad in a fight or two's time. Not an immediate rematch, but I'd be very keen if that kid will do the weight we want to have a rematch with him, because I think Brandon will reverse that result. But at the moment, it's about this fight, getting back to what Brandon does well, which is fast punching, movement, keep his chin out of the way, and not get carried away. And I'm sure Richard Sawyer's a good trainer, and I'm sure they'll put right what went wrong last time before we move on to other things for him.
All right, Jack Newham.
Love Jack. He's another one that suffered. He suffered again. He suffered. He was winning the fight and got caught. The fight before last, he's come back with a win. Jack Newham will be a champion. Absolutely, no doubt about it. But again, it doesn't matter how well you build, develop, match. If fighters get careless and leave their chin in the air and somebody hits you on it, you're going to go.
There's not a lot you can do about that.
No, and that's what Jack did. He got carried away. But again, lesson learned. He wasn't beaten up in the fight. He was winning the fight and got caught. Those sort of losses, sometimes, Lennox Lewis had them. They can teach you a lesson. You can come back and learn from it. And I really rate Jack as well. Really rate him.
Cool. Neil Parry.
Neil's a really improving fighter, and to be honest, I think he's becoming one of the biggest improvers we have. I think he's getting there. He's 25 now.
He's training with Billy Rumble now.
Billy Rumble. He just needs to get a consistent amount of fights. Just needs to get the fight, keep active, and I think there's no reason why in 12 months he can't be heading towards titles. But we just need with Neil now to get a consistency of getting a fight every 3 months.
I think with Neil, he probably needs that confidence, doesn't he? Because he's had a loss on his record, he's had a draw on his record.
Yeah.
He probably needs that confidence builder, which he's got his new coach. They've had one fight together, I think. He needs just to get that confidence up and get the momentum going.
He's had two wins, but I just want him to string them together one after the other rather than having these breaks.
Yeah.
Because I think Neil is a really lovely lad, and I think he's got a lot of potential. And having a loss or draw early on in your career doesn't really matter. It's where you end up, not where, when you have these reversals. But I actually felt last time, I thought he looked really improved. Not saying he wasn't good before. I'm just saying that he's improving with every fight. And you see some fighters, they turn professional and they stay the same level. With Neil, I can see the improvement coming every fight, and I'm expecting to see a further improvement on Saturday.
Yeah. Do you know what I like about Neil? I wrote a fight report when he lost. I can't remember the guy's name that he lost to. And sometimes I don't like writing fight reports when something like that happens. And Neil was probably expected to win the fight, and he didn't. And you kind of have to surmise why someone didn't win the fight, which for me was that he wasn't busy enough at the time, wasn't willing to let his hands go, almost looked a bit tepid in there. I wrote those things, and then I think I put it on Facebook, and Neil wrote something about that's a really good summation of why it went wrong. And I recognise that. Normally, I think, oh fuck, when I see the person I've written about has commented on something, I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a nightmare. But Neil was like so reflective upon where he thought it had gone wrong as well, which I fully respected that, because I'm more used to getting an earful from someone when.
I think you could take constructive criticism, and I think with Neil, the more he fights, the better he'll get.
Yeah.
The more frequently he fights, the better he'll get.
Billy Jackson.
Billy Jackson's not my fighter. He's somebody I don't know anything about, Billy.
Okay. We'll move on then.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're just doing Ryan Barrett a favour and putting his fighter on. But again, we've matched him, but I can't comment. He's not one of our fighters.
All right. Ohio Kane.
Same trainer, same team.
Because I didn't know how to pronounce his surname.
I don't know anything about them other than the fact they're fighting.
Okay, right. Last one then is Alan Ratibb.
He's managed by Graham Everett up in Norwich, and Graham asked us to put him on, and we have done. He's a good lad, and Graham said he's had a couple of reversals early in his career, but he's developing well, and Graham's happy for him just to develop through and get him a title shot. So I appreciate Graham putting him on. So,
cool. All right, so that's everything Saturday night. So reminder: doors are 4:30, first fight 5,
and don't miss the Nuki bomb.
Yes, he's looking sharp, looking fit, all those things, and he's fucking annoyingly good looking as well, Brad. Like, he's such a nice bloke, talented boxer. You think he can be an ugly fucker at least, but
apparently he attracts males and females, Brad.
Does he?
Apparently.
Does he? I didn't know that.
So I've heard from someone who knows him. They said he gets attention from both.
Well, he shouldn't be on Grindr then, should he? It's what it is.
Right. Okay.
You watching Love Island this year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I watched Hughie Fury going it the other day. Tommy Fury. He went in there. He was done a dirty deed last night.
Do you know what? I'm going to have to confess here, because my wife watches it, and I'm sat around in the living room, and at that point I can't get the TV remote back, so I am following what's going on.
Same as last year, I got caught because Georgia was in it.
Yeah, a handy excuse.
Yeah, but now this year, I'm sort of thinking, well, I watched it last year, I've started to watch it, and because Fury's in it, it makes it more interesting. So I'm actually watching it, but he was a dirty dog last night. He shouldn't have done what he done. That was awful. I felt so sorry for that Joe.
There's a lot of people that just turned off right now.
There we go.
Anyway, moving on. New signings.
4 new signings to announce for this week. We should have another 3 or 4 to announce next week. So it's very busy. First one is former England amateur Billy Stanley.
Yeah.
Top quality amateur. Really looking forward to him turning over. And the thing about these guys we've signed this week, all guys and girl, all real quality fighters. Conor Adaway, brother of Chris.
Yeah.
Now Conor he's in the Haringey Box Cup this weekend, so good luck to Conor. Hopefully he wins it. He's only 20, got a really good amateur record, and they say that he's very exceptional. I've heard some of the sparring stories. I think he's got some real potential, and I think Connor's going to be. He does. The funny thing he told me, Connor, Chris didn't know he was a journeyman. He was sort of led down the road of a journeyman without really understanding what he was led into.
Right.
So he sort of became a journeyman by accident. And then once he was in it, he stayed as being a journeyman. Now Connor understands. He said, I don't want to do that road. I want to become a champion.
Yeah.
So Connor's going to actually train to be a champion, and obviously I'm going to manage him, so he will understand the difference between the journeyman and non-journeyman.
Yeah.
Somebody else that we signed, Courtney Richards, former cruiserweight, beat Lawrence Bennett. Hasn't fought now for, I don't even remember Courtney.
Yeah,
do you know what? He took rounds off Stephen Simmons.
Yeah.
Right,
I didn't know you'd signed him. The name just suddenly went.
He beat Lawrence Bennett when Lawrence Bennett was undefeated. Handed Lawrence his first loss. Now Courtney's an interesting one. Good ticket seller that was on the road as a journeyman. Didn't understand he was being used as a journeyman. Another one. He said, I was sent on the road as a journeyman, but I wasn't really told I was a journeyman, and he wasn't paid. Wasn't digging great money out of it. But he thought he was there. He didn't really get what was going on.
Yeah.
So he's still only 26 now, and he hasn't boxed for 3 years. So it's like he's actually really talented. So this is the second coming, but this will be the real Courtney Richards, not the one we saw. He's 5-5-2 or something, and yet most of those fights were done on the road, and he was winning fights on the road and fighting Stephen Simmons, for example.
Yeah.
So he's a decent level fighter. And I can't wait to see Courtney get back in there and do the job, and I'm really excited about looking after him.
When's he likely to be back?
October, November.
Okay.
And finally, I love women's boxing. We signed Rebecca McMullin, or McMullin with an I-N. She fought a really good level amateur, fought elite fighters. She was an elite women's amateur boxer. She's a flyweight. It's going to make matching very...
Core.
Yeah, core. It's not going to be easy
As
to
if
match
women's talent pools aren't...
But think of the positive. Titles come
How
early.
quickly can you get to the top?
Yeah. So that's the way I've said to her. We need to get going, but we can get her to the top a lot quicker than in other weight categories. So I'm really excited to look after her. She's a lovely girl. Got a good training team down there with Sean and Marley, and it's going to work really well. And these 4 boxers are all from Devon. Yeah. So we're building up our talent pool down there. We've already got Darren Townley, Harry Armstrong, Brad Pauls. We've got this pool of acts. So we're coming to Devon. We're going to be doing.
So you will be doing a.
We will be coming to Devon and doing a show.
So will those people, will they likely debut at York Hall?
No, I'm going to debut them all locally.
Okay.
And this is the plan. And
you just want a summer holiday.
Oh, I love it down there. I'm actually going to Devon for a week's holiday in the beginning of October. But yeah, no, we're definitely coming down there. We're going to do a show down there, and it's an area that I think can be developed properly, and we're really looking to develop boxing down that area. Right. And we got some more signings to come from there as well.
Okay.
So more news next week.
So they'll be the ones next week.
Some of them are from there next week. So we're going to have exciting times, October, November.
Great stuff. All right, cool. We should move on to some questions. Unless there's anything else.
I'm just thinking, have we made any fights in the last week? Not that we can announce, but I think you can. I think there's some really good fights coming up, isn't there? Really good fights. So we're doing for September.
Yeah. So the board orders, when are they due out?
Next week. So there'll be a lot of news coming up next week. Should the board approve things that we're wanting to do, but next September's going to be. We're going to announce one of the fights next week, and then I've got about another 6 to 7 title fights and things I'm working on for September. Yeah. So really, the September shows are going to be amazing.
Cool. Right. At the Fella Boss on Twitter. We'll get straight into the Joshua stuff, I think.
Oh, will we? Okay.
How watertight are the type of rematch clauses you imagine that Matchroom have put in place? What chance have PBC got of getting an exception so that Ruiz could fight Wilder, as it would be a unification?
I would imagine, again, I don't know, but Eddie Hearn and his team are not stupid people.
Yeah.
There is no way, in my opinion, they are going to leave a legal void. So I would imagine that he's going to be tied in pretty much. I imagine the financial penalties will be severe if he tries to walk.
I'd imagine what's more likely is that he would just drop one of the belts that...
If somebody forces him, he'll drop the belt.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine his contractual obligations will be that if he doesn't drop that belt, then he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So I've heard a rumour that one of the belts will disappear.
The IBF is meant to be the most likely.
Well, that could happen, but they'll drop that and somebody else will fight.
Well, because they did it with Fury, didn't they? That they were demanding he fight the mandatory, whereas actually he was contractually obligated to fight Klitschko again, and so he couldn't do both. And so he ended up just being stripped of the IBF, which now you've got the situation that Ruiz has got Pulev due up, but is contractually obligated to now fight Joshua.
Yeah.
Will he just have to bin the IBF? Because, you know, that if it's a choice for me of like, do I get sued by Matchroom because I don't go ahead with it, or keep hold of the belts? I think I'd be getting the belts.
Yeah, nothing else. So I would imagine, I don't know, but the boxing promoters at that level are good with, you know, same whether it be Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn. I am sure their contractual terms for that sort of stuff are pretty watertight.
Yeah, yeah. Did you watch it? I'm guessing
I watched it all. Yeah.
Did you get up for it, or?
I stayed. Do you know what happened? I thank Olivia for this. I wasn't going to watch it, right? Because I thought, oh, it's going to be terrible. And Olivia was back with her partner and Kieran, and they said, oh, we want to watch the boxing, so she came over from a barbecue to watch it. So I paid for it. I thought, oh, well, if you're going to watch it, I'll pay for it, right? So I paid for it, and they went to bed after the Kelly fight. They were so bored with Josh Kelly because they've met Josh Kelly, so but they were so bored they went to bed. I fell asleep during Josh Kelly. I fell asleep. They went to bed. When I woke up after the Kelly fight was over, they'd gone to bed, I was down on my own. So, but then I watched the rest of it, and I watched the stuff before. Yeah, I watched it all.
Were you aghast as it kind of unfolded?
Well, I was aghast at a lot of the stuff through the night, because I watched the Katie Taylor fight.
There's a question about that in a second.
Oh, I'll leave that then. So let's go to Joshua. Yeah, but there's something wrong. Something's wrong. There was something wrong. Look, I've always been, and I'm just being honest, I've always said that. I've always said Wilder beats Joshua. I've always said Fury beats Joshua. I've always felt, but I don't take any pleasure in seeing Anthony Joshua lose like that. I really don't. I wanted him to win. So I don't see why, and I hate people. I hate the thing that people enjoy people's demise. I just think that's really sad in life, and I think anybody that enjoys anybody's demise is a really sad fuck. And I think that it's really sad to see. You can see that whatever you think about Joshua and the money and the promotion and whatever bullshit you think's attached to any of it, he's still a human being that's obviously gone in that ring and something's not right. And his questions he was asking the corner, did you see it?
So strange.
It was bizarre, right? That wasn't right.
But that was... It was almost as if it had dawned on him at that point that Andy Ruiz is a naturally born boxer and Joshua is this trained, later on in life, athlete who's become a boxer. So when he was asking Rob McCracken, what's he going to do next, do you think? It's like, I can't imagine Andy Ruiz was in his corner saying, what do you think he's going to do next?
He knows what's coming. Because, I'm not belittling what's happened, but he beat Charles Martin, who was drugged out of his eyeballs, right? We know that Charles Martin was high on drugs before that fight. And
is that fact?
Pretty much, yeah.
I know he has been near.
Well, he was afterwards as well, wasn't he? But hopefully he comes back, Charles, and he reinvigorates his career. But
he did well with Kanaki, didn't he?
But the thing was with Charles is he was given a big pay up advance, and he went and blew it all and done drugs and whatever else he did. And he wasn't himself, Charles Martin. He's a lot better than that. But they got Charles Martin when he was gone. They got Klitschko when he was really old. They got Povetkin when he was really old, and he's still giving trouble.
They got a referee that assisted against Joseph Parker.
So we've got to look at it in reality. And I don't mean anything bad, because I like Anthony Joshua. I like what he stands for. I like the way that he conducts himself most of the time. But to me, he'd never fought a hungry young heavyweight. And apart from Dylan White, who at the time wasn't really at the level.
Yeah.
So he still, to me, was to be proven, and I'm not sure unless something changes dramatically, he wins a rematch. But also, I do think, added to the fact that I still thought he'd beat Ruiz anyway, but something's not right. A boxer shouldn't be asking these kind of questions. He looked odd. It didn't look right. And I hope, whatever it is, and I don't know what it is, I hope whatever it is he can resolve, and I hope he comes back, and I hope he wins a rematch, and I hope that, you know, because I don't like people turning on people because they lost. I find it, the amount of statuses I've seen on social media taking pleasure out of it, I just think, you sad people, get a life. Because nobody, it's nice to, you might not be happy for somebody if they do well, I understand that, but don't be gutted for somebody that you don't know. If you'd done something personally to somebody, then I understand why you'd be happy if they lost. But when people don't know this man, and they're going, oh no, this is fantastic, he lost, I think it's really sad. I don't know, I mean, are you going to tell me you're happy?
No, I'm not at all. But, and I will caveat it.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed Eddie Hearn's cash cow got found out.
Okay.
The amount of bullshittery that comes along with it, of the StubHub stuff, the pay-per-views, that someone is a pay-per-view fighter, the narrative that we're sold around Joshua, all stripped bare as a result of that. Now, I'm not sad that that's gone. I wasn't happy looking at Joshua on the floor for the 4th time in a fight.
But that's different.
Different. That's what I mean.
I don't have a problem with that.
In no way am I happy that Joshua lost, or happy seeing a man. You know, he's a man mountain. He's a behemoth. He's, you know, a superman. Everything about him is, you know, physically impressive and imposing. And to see him on the canvas like that as a Brit, all those things, you think, well, I'm really like. You felt sorry for him when he's in that corner saying, why do I feel like this?
I agree.
I felt sorry for him in all of those moments.
I agree.
What I'm not sad about is that Matchroom tower of bullshittery kind of gets stripped apart by it.
That's a different thing.
Yes.
You're not taking pleasure in, I'm so happy he lost. You're saying that you don't like the things that are going behind the scenes, and you're quite happy that that's all been a little bit.
Yeah, it can fall apart a little bit as a result of it. You know, do you buy into any of the conspiracy theories of he got battered in sparring beforehand, or well, there's some the lunacy, but
the thing is, everybody you know what happens in boxing. Everybody makes up loads of shit.
You can read into it. Whatever the thing about him chewing on his gum shield.
But all you know is something wasn't right.
I have a theory. I'll say it off camera.
You have a theory?
No, I do actually, because a lot. I would suspect, rightly or wrongly, that Joshua was or is observing Ramadan.
Okay.
And I think that would have a huge effect upon. I may be completely and utterly
well, of course
miles
it would.
off.
If he's observing, of course, because now if that's true. You can't. None of our boxers would be ready to fight.
Khan's put it off multiple times.
Yeah.
Now I might be miles off. I don't know, but he's made a lot of hints in the past about living a kind of Muslim lifestyle. And again, I might be absolutely miles off. But that was my.
Well, they could explain it.
Because I mean, the vacancy of how he looked and things. But
then why go ahead with the fight?
Would DAZN not let you?
It will come out. It will come out.
If you think about how he was meant to fight at Wembley, and then he was meant to fight Miller, and then all these, I don't know.
But it will come out. And listen, the most important thing is I hope that whatever it is gets sorted, and I hope he comes back, and I hope he becomes a champion, and I hope he moves on. But one other thing is, don't keep postponing these bigger fights because it goes. Because I'm not going to blame who's who, but these fights should just happen because postponing these fights and all the bullshit between everybody, all it does is often means that these fights don't happen.
If that was a 100 million pot, it's now a 20 million pot.
Yeah, how stupid is that?
Yep. Question from James S. J__ Slapman on Twitter. Was Katie Taylor's unification success a close decision which went in her favour, or was it just a true gift?
Well, nobody with a pair of eyes could think she won apart from Katie Taylor. I mean, that was disgraceful.
I haven't actually seen it.
Let me talk about the cards, right, from there. Let me talk about the cards. Josh Kelly drew. I think we lost, but we'll give it. We'll let that one pass. Anthony Joshua was 1 round down on 2 cards, and 1 round up on 1 card. How the fuck? Could any? Now let's strip that down. Nobody thought that it was nip and tuck in that fight. It wasn't, right? No. It wasn't. How the fuck does somebody score like that and then people carry on as if that's okay? Katie Taylor, everybody that I spoke to thought she lost. Everybody on television thought she lost.
Yep.
She didn't win. She did not win.
And yet those same judges will be employed next week for world title fight.
She did not win. Now, why do you get results like that? I've had this about judging before, right? I don't have any evidence of bribery or stuff like that going on, right? I can't believe that happens. Maybe it does, I don't know. But people that watch boxing, these are people that are experienced in watching boxing. They can't believe the scores they're giving. They can't. So why are they returning scorecards at the end of the rounds like that?
Yeah.
It's disgraceful. But that's not just the 1 fight, that's 2 fights. And I'm going to give the Kelly fight a pass.
I've only seen the Joshua fight, which I sat and watched.
Taylor fight. Go and watch that.
Is it worth it?
It's a good fight.
Yeah, that's what I was hungover.
But that poor woman. It was ridiculous. She never won. Look, it was 2 or 3 rounds easily to Delphine Pearson. It was unquestionable. But it's not the first time we've seen it. But this is what pisses me off at boxing. That fight, and I was like that. Then when I saw the Joshua cards the next day, I thought, what the fuck were we all watching last night? No, but it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that does our sport any good.
Agreed.
And at least Carl Foch was the only one that said the truth. They said, what's the best performance of the night? Johnny Nelson said Katie Taylor. Tony Bellew said...
Tony Bellew?
Whoever he said. No, he said whatever it was. And Carl Foch said, well, you can't. He said that was a robbery. And then Tony Bellew said, it wasn't a robbery, you can't say it's a robbery. And then obviously Foch has to turn around and thought, oh, I better not say it's a robbery. No, it wasn't a robbery. He went off message and thought, so I'm just saying, but it was a robbery. It was a blatant robbery.
Alright, let's move on. Daniel Smith. Daniel, I've sorted your tickets with Steve from when you won them ages back. I'll drop you a message. Why does it come across that the IBO is considered winning a legitimate world title for female fighters compared to most men seeing it as an extra trinket, with the exception of Eubank Jr.?
Because with the women, they're so used to in the past fighting for these
WBF,
WIB, whatever they are, GIBCs and stuff like that. So for them, it becomes, for a woman, in my opinion, a bona fide world title. I think it's fair. You've got to accept that women's world titles are not held in the same esteem as a male world title. I mean, Hannah Rankin's got a she's fighting for the
She's got an IBO world title.
And look,
good luck to you, Hannah.
Good luck to Hannah. Look, you may say, I mean, she's been over to America and given it her all. She's not world #1 by any stretch of the imagination. But if you've got 5 belts, Hannah might be number 5, number 6 in the world at her weight. So, okay, she's entitled to win one of the 5 belts. That's all. That's okay.
I also think with women's boxing that I know it's been around for a long time. And I know you've had the Cecilia Breakhouses that have been doing the sport whilst the UK has ignored it for years and years and years. But it's only hitting the mainstream now. And I think it's still settling down in its place. I
totally agree.
There's a lot of moving parts in it still that until they settle down, we don't really know what the sport
but
at the top end is.
I'd rather it be an IBO title than a WIBF, which is what they used to do. But so, to me, the women's world titles are improving, and I think an IBO is a legitimate world title for a female, and I hope Hannah wins.
Yeah. Message from Andrew Fairley with some great photos from his skydive on the weekend.
Done a great job, didn't they?
So Jeffrey Afori, Jamani Camaro, David Birmingham, and Lucy Wildheart, I believe the female is, but please correct me if I'm wrong, somebody.
It is Lucy.
Excellent. Cool. Hi Martin, if you could give a big thank you from me to Steve for sponsoring us, which I know you did, and I know he's very, very thankful for. And also the boxers who skydived, I'd be very grateful. I'm so proud of them. So,
and didn't he do it? And Andrew's a credit to boxing and the sport. He's a fantastic man.
He really, and like, there's no mention of thanking him, but thank you, Andrew.
That's you thank him for what he's doing.
Organising.
I think they raised about £5,000, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, towards the ringside rest and retirement home for
brilliant job, and they're going again, aren't they? Soon. So.
He's got Brad Paul's going up with him. But yeah, Andrew does so much about it. But you know, well done to everybody that's involved in it.
The whole lot. It's been really good to see people do it. I see Mark Nielsen's doing something sponsored for it as well. So full credit to Mark.
When are you going to skydive?
Not for $1 million. You know my Turkish diving story. I'm not. You couldn't give me £10 million to jump out of a plane. Now, one, I'd probably, with my heart condition, die. But even if I thought I don't mind dying, so I'll give the money to my family. But for me, I just couldn't physically do it. I'd rather do anything than do that. I just couldn't do it. Have you done anything like that before?
No, at the weekend I did a zip wire in a place called Toledo out in Spain, which you do it across their river that runs through, so up the wall and then you land at the other wall, but down underneath you is a sheer drop of
water.
No, you start off and it's a sheer drop of, like, as soon as you leave the platform, it's about 60 feet below you is just rock, and then that carries on down to the riverbank, and then you've got the river. It goes on for like 30 seconds in total. I didn't even want to do it. I only did it because my brother-in-laws were doing it, and I thought I can't pussy out whilst those two are doing it.
I saw one in Vegas. Josh did it, and I think Livy did it, and I looked at that, and there's zip wire down one of the streets in Vegas.
I've seen that.
You seen that one? And I thought, I ain't doing that either. I can't do that.
I got zero enjoyment out of it, but I purely did it because I thought
I had to do it.
Yeah, my wife said I can't do it, and like just let them do it.
I'll pussy out. I'll always be a pussy.
Paul Oldtight on Twitter. As a manager, would Steve advise AJ to go straight back for a rematch?
Slightly different question. You shouldn't do immediate rematches. I know that, and as a general, if you do the statistics going back 20 years of boxing and 30 years of boxing, if someone wants to go and do it, which I spent a lot of time doing, they're not up to date now, you will see that immediate rematches don't have a good result overall.
What kind of value are you looking at? 75% lose?
Depends on,
ish.
Yeah, sort of that sort of zone. And these are people that were expected to win the first fight, so they go back for a second attempt, and they still most of them fail. If you leave it a fight or two, it goes up to something like it spins the other direction.
Oh, right.
If you actually go and do some numbers, somebody goes and does all the numbers. And I'm not talking necessarily about small hall scene and 6-rounders. I'm talking about title level fights. So it's really not the greatest idea to do it. However, if Joshua doesn't do this, he's probably out in the cold. So he probably has no realistic option but to go back and do it. So David Price, Tony Thompson was a heavyweight one that you mean. I mean, but generally it doesn't work. Sometimes it can, but generally it doesn't work.
AJ's value without those belts makes him an O2 fighter, not a Wembley fighter.
And I'm not sure he'll go back to that. So I think he has no choice but to do the immediate rematch. Again, it's really hard to make an assessment on what will happen in that rematch, bearing in mind we don't know what's really gone on. Something's wrong.
Yeah, I say without those belts, without fighting for those belts. He doesn't have them now, but if he fought Ruiz and they said it was in the UK at Wembley, I fully expect that.
But what I would imagine, if you do a research on immediate rematches also, and if they've been knocked out with one flash punch like Lennox Lewis, and discount the flashy one-punch knockouts.
Like the Rackman fight.
Yeah, forget the Rackman fight. Forget the ones where somebody's been knocked out in one punch. When a fighter has sustained a beating and goes for immediate rematch, I would imagine it's like 90-10.
Yeah, it must be. You saw how mentally, I don't want to say weak, but broken perhaps is a better term, Joshua looked in that corner. That's a hell of a rebuilding process for someone to go through, for that same man who just mentally broke you, and your next time you step into a professional boxing ring, that same man is stood on the other side of the ring.
I agree.
Ready to go.
I agree. I mean, it doesn't make logical sense, but he may have to do it. He may have to. He's probably got to do it.
I'd imagine DAZN want those belts back.
Well, yeah, and then because otherwise Al Heyman's got all the belts, and after the palaver that we've had, I mean, you'll have people like Al Heyman going, ha ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matchroom, you want the belts back? Really? And you imagine it'll be
But what a night for Al Ghena. Like, fantastic for Andy Ruiz. Like the best when you see that joy on his face.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, when he was jumping up and down in the ring, the fat bastard in there, who like had no right on paper to be winning the fight, and he's in there jumping up and down after he's done it. And I thought, and then he did that interview where he's saying, "Mum, we're never going to struggle again," and it's changed our lives. Just thought that's what the sport's about at the top. If you can create those opportunities for someone.
And also, what you've got to remember is, he actually was the better fighter.
Crikey, yeah. And when he got knocked down, he just had that look on his face of like, oh, shit, right, I'll count to like 8, and then I'll get up.
Yeah.
And he was so composed about it all that many Joshua opponents seemed to crumble when that happened.
But I think there have been signs with Joshua things not being right. I keep saying that as if they've all been right, but I think there've been signs. But this fight was all the problems that he's had in previous fights all came to fruition in one night, and it's as if he hadn't had the right preparation. So every weakness was exposed and multiplied.
Yeah,
and I just hope he recovers. But
you mentioned Mark Nielsen earlier. Sent in a question. Views on live streaming. I know we've discussed one before.
Okay.
As MTK are now streaming all of theirs as a fighter profile building strategy, and Matchroom do so on social media with the pre-TV broadcast fights.
Okay. How much fighter profile is being built on the MTK shows?
And also, before you go any further on that, someone equate to me the value of profile if there's nothing that comes with it. It's all well and good saying I've got 20,000 Twitter followers or I was watched by 120,000 people. Someone show me where that equates to the boxer getting sponsored.
That's my point. And if you watch the show, for example, look at the amount of viewers at any one time, because people are often just going to watch a particular fight, like they do in small hall. I've yet to see the value that a boxer directly achieves monetarily from it. You've got to, now it's different when you're going on Sky and then you're doing the profiles on Sky. It's a different animal entirely as we sit here today. But streaming doesn't, I'd love somebody to come and prove me otherwise, but I cannot see, and I've still yet to be proven, where the boxer is benefiting like they do on Sky. I've gone to Sky, when I've got a box on Sky, I get a little label like that, stick it on the shorts and get $5 grand for them.
Yeah.
Now they go on Sky. That's profile, because you're getting monetary reward for the profile. Just because you've got 800 people watching your fight, which is what it is, forget the numbers at the end, it might be 20,000, 40,000. That just means there's been individual views of that somebody could click on, click back, whatever it may be. But watching a particular fight will be between 800, 1,500 people watching at any one time. So your fight is on streaming, and again, Lee might correct me on that if he knows the numbers, but when I've watched it, that's been the sort of numbers that's been watching at one time. So what profile are you getting from 1,500 people watching your fight? And that's the MTK, and they've got a good, and they want a really good platform with the IFL. And then then you say, well, in America, again, if you're on the ESPN Plus and you're being shown at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not so sure that they know who the boxers are. But I understand what they're doing. It's real. I like it because I can watch the fights.
As a fan, it's
fantastic. I like it. So I'm not criticising because I like it. I like to absorb it. More boxing that's available to watch is great. I'm not sure where the benefit for boxers, the actual financial benefit for boxers, is on it.
I think we discussed it before.
And promoters, remember, I've still got the argument, and I still say the same thing. Promoters lose money by doing it. I don't care what anybody BS is about. Boxers lose ticket revenue. They do. They will sell less tickets. They do.
Even if it's one.
They will earn less money. So a boxer going on the platform will earn less money. Right? So that's categoric.
Unless it's subsidised by the sponsorship they can get in return for...
And I'm not sure you get a lot of sponsorship for 1,500 views of a fight. Maybe I'm proving wrong. Maybe a boxer's going to come out and say to us, I've been on that show, and because I was on a stream show, whether it's Steve Wood, VIP, whoever it may be that's streaming, because Steve Wood's been doing it the longest. Yep. Okay, I mentioned MTK, we should look at Steve Wood, because he puts on stream shows all the time. But I don't know of a boxer that's come out and said, I'm making an extra X amount of £1,000 by going on these shows. I can tell you a lot of boxers that are losing a lot of money on ticket revenue.
All right, we should move on. I asked Mark about it, by the way, and his view, he said, I can see the kind of value in it, but he's keeping an eye on it, basically.
But Mark, ring me and tell me the value.
Okay, maybe I might be misquoting him there, to be fair.
But Mark, give me a call. I don't see the value. I see, look, the value, I don't see, the bottom line has got to be, is there a value for the promoter? From a promoter that's trying to break even on a show, I can't see it. What's the value for the fighter? Again,
yeah, I think Mark was keeping a watching brief as to how it kind of
in time. Mark, what I do in time, it will be the way forward.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, it will be the way. At this moment in time, I do not believe it adds value. That's why we're not doing it.
For the same reason, I believe in time, DAZN as a platform will be the biggest thing in the world if they carry on purchasing rights to sporting events. But right now, you've still got a generation of people like my mum and dad that can't work a fucking Fire Stick. They can't load an app onto a Fire Stick, and therefore, if they lived in America, they wouldn't purchase DAZN purely for that reason, because you might be able to say, yeah, it's easy, it's an over-the-top product, you just put it on top of the Fire Stick and therefore you can just watch it on your TV. If you told my mum to do, even if I went around her house and loaded it onto her TV and did it all for her, she'd still turn on the TV and not know how to use it.
And the other thing, I agree, and the other thing is the cost of production.
Yeah.
Who's paying for it?
Yeah, but I think when, like, my son and my daughter's generation grow up, that would just be second nature.
No, I totally agree.
Because my children don't watch TV, they watch YouTube.
But are they the people that are going to pay sponsorship money?
Yeah, exactly. I say,
are they going to, where's the revenue going to come from? Unless it's a very big. If you're watching Anthony Joshua or a really big fight with well-known names, that's different. If you're watching an English title fight on it that people don't really know, unless they're attached to that fighter, are they going to be that fussed about watching or sponsoring? Argue no. And then you've got the production cost.
Yeah.
If the promoter's got to pay the production cost, which they do have to, where's that money coming back from? From less ticket sales. Well, that's not going to work. Are you going to get sponsors? Well, the viewer figures, I stand that I don't believe it's coming from there. So I don't believe the financial model works unless you've got a bottomless pit of money.
And to be fair with MTK, they have the ESPN, and whether that brings in a financial stream of revenue.
Only they know what they're doing. And so it's not a criticism, it's just that I think unless you've got a bottomless pit of money, it doesn't make any sense, because you've got to pay all the commentators and so I know boxing, I know the numbers.
Yeah.
Would be if if I was doing it, I'd be bust.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Robbo BHAFC on Twitter. Would you pull a fight? It's an interesting question. Would you pull a fighter if they turn up on the night not looking right? Also, would them being the main event affect this? You
should pull a fighter if they're not well.
Have you ever done it?
I've allowed the fighter to fight who wasn't well. I made a mistake once. A fighter wasn't. We were debating this. The fighter wasn't well, and
they did lose.
They lost
in a fight they should have won.
Yes.
Right.
Did it once, many years ago.
And by not right, do you mean they turned up with flu or something? Or?
Just wasn't feeling well. The belly was had a bit of the toilet problems, and
it's all you need getting into the ring.
Yeah, and we let them fight. Now, no, I say to the fighters, if you're not right, you tell me, we'll pull you out.
Yeah.
No fighter should fight if they're not right.
Okay, so even if it was the bottom of the card or the main event,
doesn't matter. If I know they're not right, I'll pull them out.
All right, UK Boxing 1 on Twitter. Doesn't look as if anyone wants to box Juma at a Southern area or English level. Any chance the board could force the winner of Richard Riakporhe versus Chris Billam-Smith to face Juma?
Well, the first thing
they won't have a board title, will they?
Correct.
Right.
But the second thing is, watch this space.
Okay. Right. He's got another question, so I'll move on from that. Now DAZN has become Matchroom's priority, has it become harder to deal with Matchroom since they've spread themselves so thin?
Not really, because I think the difference is, I mean, we've still been... The difference is they're not looking for the type, that they've got a different model now. They used to be looking for what I consider to be really competitive title fights. And they had, to a certain extent, on a couple of their shows, they took the Southern area fight of Charlie Duffield down Aziz. They've took the Andre Sterling fight on the next show.
But that's a next gen, isn't it?
That's the next gen. The main Sky shows, though, are owned by, so for example, Dylan White, so he'll put Charlie Duffield on because he owns him. So the models are such that they're not that interested in other fighters unless you're forcing them into coming up against Sky fighters on a mandatory basis. So it makes
if you got Juma to mandatory for a Coley, for instance.
Like, they're not interested. They're trying to block Dean Jumas as well. They have no. They know he's too dangerous.
Say you ended up with Linus Udofia being mandatory to Felix Cash.
Yeah, then they're going to have to do business.
Yeah.
But until they would look at Linus Udofia and go, that's too hard a fight. We'll try and keep him out of the way, and it's my job to get him in to fight whoever it is or whatever titles. You've got to force the fighters to get in the positions to fight titles. They've just done a fight with Cheeseman and Kieran Conway, haven't they? But Conway's just been handpicked as the fall guy. As a fall guy, right? And because he's not doing it, and again, I don't know the deal, but he wouldn't be getting, in my opinion, I don't believe he'd get the value of the fight, because you're taking a fight on a voluntary position. I had this discussion with Adrian Martin yesterday, we were having chats, and he goes, yeah, but you just take a British title for any money. That's why you need...
That's why you have a manager.
Yeah, and I think it's important. But again, they're not going to want to put their kids in with somebody they think has got potential to beat them. And Dion Juma, whilst he hasn't done anything yet as a pro to prove it, he has the potential. So they'll probably think, keep him out of the way. So it's harder to deal with them because I don't think that's been any different than it has in the past. They want to keep the other kids out of the way. So you just have to force it. Same as Buglioni. Buglioni, they didn't want anything to do with him until he went up and beat Jose. Then they wanted to deal with him. That's what you have to do.
It's interesting saying about the DAZN becoming a priority. Have you ever listened to the Eddie Hearn podcast that he's doing on BBC?
Have you?
Yeah, I have, yeah. He's only on 2. I think he's finding his feet with it, but I'm not going to sit and criticise it. He's still early doors. He's very lucky with who he can get access to.
Of course.
Like KSI was the first one, and then Wayne Rooney was the second one. But there was a line in there with the Wayne Rooney one where he was asking Rooney about upping his family and moving to America and the difficulties of it. He was saying, I've been debating doing that. And I thought, crikey.
Really?
It's a hell of an admission.
Really?
Yeah. So someone else who's listening to it find the quote, but it was basically like he said.
That's telling you he's going the DAZN route, doesn't it? I guess.
Anyway, I just thought it was a really interesting thing to come out with. Sean Wright on Twitter, Linus Udofia is doing well. How far away is he from challenging for a British title? In the immediate future, he has to be looking at the likes of Cummings, Mullinder, doesn't he?
No. We don't target people. What does Mullinder offer? He's got nothing. What's he offer? Nothing.
Yeah.
We're after the titles, so we're aiming for the titles, and whoever's got those titles at the time, we're aiming for. He's now mandatory for the English. We'll deal with that. Hopefully win the English. Then we'll aim for the Commonwealth or the British. Whoever has those titles, we'll go for. If one of those has got something we want, we go for it. We don't aim for fighters, if you follow me, because you don't achieve anything by aiming for fighters. You achieve something by aiming for titles. Yeah,
I mean, certainly not at the stage that Linus is at in his career. I'm not saying you would pick Joe Mullinder as you're coming up to learn against, but somebody, you might pick a fighter when someone's coming up below that level to say they would give them the right experience, the right kind of fight. Because you
might say, Mullinder's got carried by Williams, he's on the slide, he's looking for a payday, blah, 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 etc. So yeah, that sort of thing is where your possibility is. But when you've got somebody mandatory for an English, we're targeting the titles, and that's the route we're going down. Because what you've got to aim for is one of two things. You either, if you want to make real money out of this sport, you have to become a proper televised fighter. I'm not talking about a streaming fighter. You've got to become a proper TV fighter where you are in control of your own destiny and control of your fights. That's what you're aiming to do. I'm not aiming to go the other route. That's how a fighter should be. That's where you're going to earn the money. You're not going to earn money fighting for fights on streaming services. You've got to get a big promoter behind you who has got an amount of money and is on a major platform, and you've got a good contract with them. That's what we're all aiming for. You have to force your way through to that.
Yep. Final question, because I know we've gone on today, haven't we? I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yestin's on Twitter. Any reason you're working with Warren more lately?
No, other than we've had a fight on the Stevenage show, and we've got Florian Marco on the O2. Very simply, they made the best offer.
Right. There were other offers for Florian, weren't there?
Mm-hmm. That was the best offer, so we took that fight because it was the best offer.
Is there an opponent for Florian?
Yeah, he's fighting Jake Best.
Ah, yes, I remember you saying about that.
So that was the reason they offered the best offer and the best financial offer. So we'll suck it and see how we go. And we work with everybody, and it's at the end of the day, it's like anything else. If Eddie Hearn had made the best offer, we may have took that offer.
Yeah.
It was about who's going to give Florian the best deal after for what we wanted. So that was it really. It's his first fight with a major promoter, so we've got to get this one out of the way and then take a view of where we go from here.
Yeah. Right, that's all the questions. Before we go, I'm going to give a shout out to Tiger Bay Shisha Lounge again. Ealing Boards and Timber again, both supporting IQ Boxing, and for Paul Lawrence from Lawson Environmental Services and George Lawrence from George Lawrence Designs for supporting Neil Parry. Make sure you check those people out if you need any of their services.
Perfect.
So Saturday 4:30.
We'll review it next week.
Starting at 5.
And hopefully we're going to have an exciting night. If you haven't got a ticket, come down at the weekend.
And hopefully you'll have a new Southern Area champion this time next week.
That's the plan.
Brad Pauls, best of luck for Saturday. Excellent stuff. And we'll review it next week.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.